Welcome to the watch studio in Switzerland, here in Neuchâtel. I'm very happy that Mike Manjos is here from Philadelphia. Thank you for having spent a few days with us.
It has been my great pleasure to come and finally see the office here and spend a great time with you and your team here in Switzerland.
Now, Mike, you have been in the watch business for about 30 years. And
Yes.
I know for the last 17 years you have been working for a reputable retailer in the jewelry and in the watch business. What intrigued you to join an organization which is the leader in pre-owned timepieces?
I think the most interesting thing was I had a good 30 years in traditional retail, primary business. More and more it was becoming apparent that the business was changing. People's shopping habits changed, people's time had changed, and I've known Danny Godberg for 30 years and had always followed what they were doing. And once I saw what he had built and developed in Philadelphia, it was obvious this was the future. This was the ability for customers to go online, do research, deal with experts. This wasn't a click and buy operation. This was a team of experts who knew watches inside and out, had an inventory unrivaled by anyone in the world. And it was the theory of high tech meets high touch that I loved. Because the best part of buying a watch is sitting down and talking with somebody who loves watches too. And he's taken technology and allowed traders to do this and interact with clients in a way that's unique in the world, I believe, today.
Now, of course, there's also the market. And we see now that globally, the market of pre-owned timepieces is growing. What do you think is the reason for that?
Well, I think, again, you have collectors all over the world. Pre-owned was always something that I loved because it represented great value. You know, you could take a watch that's 2 years old and it might be 20, 30% less expensive than the same watch new. And this is a piece that's made to last 50, 100 years. 2 years is nothing in the scheme of that. And if you look at the condition of the watches we have, it's exceptional. If I put them next to each other and tell you a new one and a pre-owned, very hard to distinguish between the two. And it's something that's great value and can just last your lifetime, so it makes perfect sense for a lot of people.
So what you're saying also, it's opening a new market for a certain segment of the customers?
Yes, a new segment, but also we run into situations where there's certain watches that are very limited. I mean, my favorite Patek Philippe is a 5970. It was made for a short number of years. You couldn't always get one. And it just might not have been the right time. And now suddenly I can meet a client who's always had that as his grail watch. In the back of his mind, that's always the one I wanted. And we've got 6 5970s on our website. You can pick which color you like.
Right.
And nowhere else in the world can you have that and kind of finish that collection that you might have missed when it was new piece.
So you could go into any store in the world and you wouldn't find it?
You wouldn't find it, no. But you can go on Watchbox and it's amazing. We have one that's still sealed brand new. I mean, it's amazing, the inventory and the availability of things that just aren't out there anymore. And the only way to acquire some of those special pieces is pre-owned.
Now, you having been in the watch business for so long, you have built a lot of relationships. You have
Yes.
friends
Yes.
in the trade, friends, customers who became your friends. If you have a friend and you would have to give him an advice before he's going to buy a pre-owned timepiece, or per se even a new timepiece, what do you tell him?
Well, the first thing I ask him is, what do you wear every day? What's in your collection? Because the most important thing to me is I want to sell him a watch that he's going to wear and enjoy. I hate things that sit in drawers and never come out and just never see the light of day. So the first thing I'm going to ask him is, you know, does this watch fit in with your collection? Do you have a bunch of watches like that? When you open the drawer in the morning and decide what to put on, which are you going to be drawn to? And how does it slot into your collection? You know, you might be a Patek collector, you might have Rolexes, you might have an Audemars. And also, a watch should be iconic. I love when I can sit in a room and look across and see that, you know, that's a Rolex across the room. I may not know exactly which one, but I can tell just by the iconic design of an Audemars, of a Patek, there's a certain look, and I love that part of the collection, that it should be true to its roots.
Which means when you talk to a customer like this, or a friend in that case, it will lead you also to recommend a pre-owned timepiece in some stages over a new timepiece.
Yes, I mean it's trying to understand the client's needs, the collection, what they love, what gets them excited. I mean, again, these are things that none of us really need, but there's a certain attachment to them. The emotional part of the business is great fun when you see it go from generation. I mean, I've got sons, as you do, that are getting to that point where, you know, I bought my son a watch for graduation, and you could just see that he knew how much it meant to me, and I knew how much it meant to him. And it's a connection. I remember my dad from some of the watches he wore, because it was kind of part of who he was.
Passions and emotions.
Yes.
Now, it is the first time that you're here at Watchbox Neuchâtel here
Yes.
in Switzerland. We had the inauguration about 3 months ago. What's your feel, and what would you tell the customers out here in Europe?
I think the most exciting thing, and I guess, you know, when you've been doing it for so many years, you kind of take some things for granted, but being here for the last 3 days is the watches are just part of who they are here. It's part of the culture. There's such a passion, there's such an integration, and you get an energy here in Switzerland. Everybody wears a watch here. Everybody cares about watches here. Everybody understands the value, the emotion, the connection of having something to pass down. And it's really amazing. And I'm excited to go back because you get that energy again from when I was a kid, why I fell in love with this business. You know, my dad was a watchmaker, so I grew up being exposed to it and understood and how they work. Could never do it very well, but love it. And you just you catch that passion again just being back here, even for a few days. So I can't wait to make another trip and spend some time with your team.
Certainly you're going to welcome to be back. Thank you very much.
Oh, it was
Thank
really
you for
my pleasure.
The interview, the inside information, and thank you very much for watching.